Hey, this is Christine, your DIY craftaholic. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have 3 budget-friendly DIYs for you. All the items I use for these projects will be listed in the description box below. So without further ado, let's jump right in. DIY number 1 is a rope mirror. And these are the items you'll need for this project. I'll leave a detailed list down below. So what you're going to do, you're going to take a pencil, trace the mirror out onto the foam board, and then use your tape measure to measure out 2 inches around. Then you're going to connect the points to form a circle. After that, you'll use your X-Acto knife or a sharp tool, any other sharp tool that you have, and you'll cut the foam board out. You're then going to cut open your rope and start by gluing that down one end with your hot glue and your strong adhesive. And you will glue that right around the foam board until you meet back at the end where you started. When you get to that point, you're going to cut the rope and then connect it with the other end by gluing it with hot glue and your strong adhesive as well. And then you're going to start the process all over again. You're going to start at the end, and if your rope happens to have any imperfections on, you'll remove that with your scissors, and you glue right around until you get back to your starting position. Now this is my mirror. I had used it for another project. So you're going to take your mirror and you're going to add some hot glue as well as your adhesive, and you're going to glue that in. Now if you happen to have space in between the mirror and the rope, you're going to just use another piece to close out that gap, and you will cut off the excess and then glue that down as well. Now what I did, I had a single strand of rope. I'm using that to just cover the outer edges of the foam board. I then took my stain and I stained the 4 pieces of tumbling blocks. And you're going to glue those down using your hot glue and your strong adhesive. And then just take your scissors and trim off whatever excess that are around the edges. Now this is optional. You can choose to use a twine to glue that down on the back, or you can use something else to hang that. So now we're on to DIY number 2, and I'm going to call this a mini wall decor. I'm using 2 small soap dish, acrylic soap dish from the dollar store, and I removed the tape and cleaned it with some alcohol wipe. Now I'm going to apply 2 coats of white paint, 1 coat first, and then I used my heat gun to dry that. And you want to make sure that you're going in the same direction with the brush, to keep the brush strokes going in the same direction. And I'm only painting the outer part of the dish. I'm not painting the inside. I then took my sanding block and I sand down the edges, and this is just to give it a weathered farmhouse look. I sanded down the edges, and now I'm going in with some watered down brown paint from Waverly. So I took my chip brush, wet that a little bit in the water, and then I'm just watering down the paint and giving it strokes in the same direction. And then when I was done with that, I dried it with the heat gun, and I'm now applying some Mod Podge, and then I dried that as well. So I took my burlap. Now this is burlap. I had this some time ago, and I'm just tracing out the frame from the soap dish. I want to get half of it Then I'm going to cut that out, pin it onto the burlap, and I'm going to cut 2 halves with 1/2 inch on the outer edges. So when I have my 2 pieces, I am now ready to assemble. So I'm taking pieces of flower foam, I'm going to glue those in, and that's just to make sure that the flowers I'm going to be putting on the inside will not fall out. So I'm taking pieces of flower from the dollar store, and you can use any kind of flowers you want to use, whether it's colorful flowers or greenery, you can do that. I then cut those and glued them in. What I'm doing, I'm paring down the foam so it doesn't bulge at the top, and then I'm going to glue down the paper and then glue on the burlap. And here I have both pieces all done. I'm taking this burlap ribbon from the dollar store as well, and I'm going to just cut 2 pieces, measure 2 even pieces, cut them and glue them at the bottom together, making the ends meet at the bottom, and then I'm going to glue the top, or the sides should say. And I did that for both pieces, and we are done. No, we're not done. So I took a piece of twine, made 2 small bows and one of the petals from the flower, and glued those onto the front of the burlap, and these DIYs are done. So there you have it. Now we're moving on to DIY number 3. These are incense burners from the dollar store. I had these for quite some time and I decided to just use them now. As well as 2 paint stirrers from Walmart. I had those as well. Now the incense burners are not all equal, so you need to make sure that you are measuring and aligning them accordingly. So I took the paint stirrers and I just measured across as to where or how far apart I need them, and then I cut those in. I'm using some watered down paint just to change the color of the paint stick. When I was done with that, I am now measuring the distance between where I want each to stand, or to the distance apart for both. And then I'm just taking this Dollar Tree crate and I'm placing that on top of it. I also used some tumbling blocks just to give me equal distance between the sticks. And then I'm using hot glue as well as wood glue to glue the pieces on. I then went in with my early American stain and I stained the crate. I think it was okay with this color, but then I decided to just add a little white on top of that as contrast. So I dry brushed some white paint on the borders as well as the inside of the sticks. Here I am just using a damp paper towel to wipe off the excess paint, as well as adding Mod Podge, and while I was doing that, one of the stick fell off, so I'm just using some hot glue to put that back on. Okay, so I wasn't too happy with the shade of the stain, so here I am going in with some watered down brown paint just to give it a different look and to blend it in with the frame. And I'm then applying some Mod Podge to that just to seal everything in. And now I'm gluing this on with some wood glue. I then took a piece of twine and just opened the holes on 2 of the incense burner, attached the twine with 2 small beads, wooden beads, and tied those for hanging. And I'm just going in now with some florals to decorate, made a small bow and attach that. And this DIY is done. So there you have it, guys, all 3 DIYs using products from the Dollar Tree. Okay, you've made it to the end of the video. If you like content like this one, hop on over to this video or watch this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and turn on your post notifications so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video.